Hi, I'm Rob from B&H, and in this video we're checking out the new toys in the Komplete 11 Ultimate bundle from Native Instruments, and all the music in that little intro demo was done with its instruments. Komplete is available as an upgrade for owners of previous versions, a scaled-down select version, a standard version, or the Ultimate bundle that we're checking out today, which brings all of NI's instrument and effect plugins together in one comprehensive package, ready to run as a standalone instrument or more commonly inside the DAW of your choice. For this video we used Logic Pro X, and we're only checking out the new stuff in Komplete 11, but our earlier videos on the Komplete series cover their previously released plugins, so check those out if you want to get an idea of the entire package. Let's dive into the new, starting with Form is NI's new sample mangling instrument, and it runs in the Reaktor 6 shell. Form is a sample tracker and uses a complex algorithm to analyze the sample and then play it back on its own oscillators. Let's play a couple of the presets to give you an idea of how it sounds, and then we'll take a closer look at how it works. On Form's sample page, you can choose a sample from the library or add your own, and then choose the playback and looping areas of the sample. In the sound page, though, are the motion curves, and this is what makes Form really interesting. You can think of a motion curve as a visual sample playback control. Along the y-axis, I can control the section of the sample I'm playing back, and the time that takes is displayed on the x-axis. I'll load up this breathy trill preset and reset the parameters so it simply plays back the sample. Now, a diagonal motion curve like this is the same as having no curve at all, but if I reload the preset, you can see how this intricate motion curve alters the playback and looping of the sample. This particular curve snaps to a grid and loops in sync with our track's tempo, but it can be timed to the sample length or set at a manual speed. A multitude of curve presets are supplied, and you can draw in your own. So even with basic sample waveforms, complex textures and rhythms can result in sync to clock. Variations on the sound can be stored as performances and called up by triggering notes in the first octave. Form offers a lot of additional features, including formant shifting, FM, deforming, 5 modulation sources, and some very nice effects, including reverb, delay, and an awesome 2-band frequency shaper. Symphony Essentials pares down the Symphony series library for the Contact sampler into a more streamlined version with a more limited feature set, but it takes up less disk space and might be more manageable for some users who don't need as many articulations, mic positions, true legato, and time stretching. In other words, if you need to do some broad symphonic sketches, Symphony Essentials is a great way to start painting the canvas. These essentials still cover quite a lot of ground, including string, brass, and woodwind ensembles, as well as various brass and woodwind solo instruments. We don't have time to hear them all, but B&H's Gregory Johnson is going to demo a few of them for us. If you're trying to score a big emotional scene in your movie and you don't have the budget for a composer, arranger, and string section, the Emotive Strings library for Contact might be the perfect solution. There are 175 different phrases to choose from, recorded by a full orchestra and organized into 64 themes, each of which features up to 5 phrases that work well together, and you can add additional patterns into the 5 user slots. Select the pattern you want by pressing the corresponding key in the lowest octave, and then play the pattern back using the keys in the upper registers. Let's hear some Emotive Strings. At this point, Komplete features a plethora of pianos, but the una corda is actually quite a unique and experimental instrument. Una corda means one note in Italian, and by using only one string per key and an open cabinet, this close-mic'd piano produces a very resonant tone. Preparation techniques, including the use of fabrics for dampening and overtones, are also employed, and these are enhanced by EQ, compression, and vintage reverb effects. The result is a very individual piano capable of almost limitless ambient options without any additional processing. Let's hear it. Strummed Acoustic for Contact is a pattern-based guitar strumming library sampled from a 1973 Martin acoustic guitar. Of course, the patterns will lock to your master DAW clock, and rather than just time stretching the samples, the playback engine switches to samples recorded at different speeds. So playback at tempos ranging from approximately 60 beats per minute up to 180 BPM sounds quite natural and realistic. Strummed Acoustic divides the keyboard into 4 zones: patterns, endings, pickups, and chords. Up to 8 different patterns can be loaded at once and then selected by the red keys. Playing chords in the blue zone then triggers pattern playback. Ending keys are in yellow, while pickups and palm hits are on the green keys. Native Instruments continues their Discovery series with the India library for Contact. The instrument features 3 modes of operation. The ensemble mode puts various percussion and melodic instruments across the entire keyboard, along with some patterns in the lowest octave. The percussion instruments each contain a single Indian percussion instrument in great detail, with single hits, fills, and patterns all available. Several Indian melodic instruments are also on board. Yes, a sitar, of course, but also a bansuri, a santoor, and more, including a tanpura, which you can play or set to drone automatically in the background. Several tuning scales are available, and while you're playing melodies, you can hold keys in the first octave to trigger ornaments, which are expressive flourishes that give your playing more nuance and realism. Reaktor is an incredibly powerful and flexible modular synth, but it can be daunting to program from scratch, which is why a lot of people primarily use it as a shell to run more specific instruments like form, contour, monarch, etc., where users can audition presets and then alter parameters. Reactor Blocks is sort of a halfway point, where various modules, or blocks, are assembled to create sophisticated patches that simulate a modular analog system. 14 ensembles with various combinations of blocks are provided. They run the gamut from fairly simple to oscillator synths to synth, sequencer, and effect combinations. Let's check out a few of the ensembles and their patches. Edit mode, you can take a look at, and of course edit, the structure of the ensemble, or in other words, how the blocks are wired together. So you can add or remove blocks, rewire, etc. You can also build your own ensemble pretty much from scratch, starting with a basic template, and add blocks and wire them in as you go along. NI offers numerous blocks to work with: oscillators, amps, filters, sequencers, etc. And a lot more user-created blocks are available online from the Reactor user library. A blocks building template can be downloaded, making it easier to create your own custom blocks and share them. Also running in Reaktor 6 is a new performance synth from Tim Exile called Flesh. Flesh generates harmonic chords and sequences from musically looped samples. Basically, Flesh can generate a track from the transient hits of a drum loop. Then you can use its performance features to alter the sounds and patterns. Let's check out a few of the presets to give you an idea of how it sounds. Below the mixer and the macro controls, there are 3 different octaves to trigger the patterns and change the way they play back. The first octave alters the harmonic content, the second changes the samples being played back, and the third allows you to switch between sound settings, including volume levels, mute, and macro settings. The mixer view has 5 sound generators, a sample player, a bass synth, a mono synth, a poly synth, and effects with circular controls for real-time adjustment of mutes, volume, and effect levels. Clicking this icon brings up modulation and envelope settings for the generators, while the icon below brings up macro settings. Clicking one of these icons takes you to the parameters and macro settings for an individual generator. In performance, you can then use the macro controls to do sweeping changes across all 5 sound generators at once. Samples are supplied, but of course you can use your own. While the core sounds in Flesh are pretty basic, you can tweak them into some really interesting shapes, and in terms of generating quick musical content from sample loops, Flesh allows you to do that quickly and intuitively. Before we close, let's take a quick look at the Replika XT effect plugin. Komplete offers a host of terrific effects, including compressors, EQs, guitar rig, the RC reverbs, and a lot more, including Replika XT, a true stereo delay that can conjure up a wealth of delay, reverb, and modulation effects. In addition to the modern, vintage digital, and diffusion options available on the original Replika, the XT version also adds tape and analog styles, all with specific parameters. The modulation options have also been expanded beyond the original phaser and filter to include flanger, chorus, and frequency and pitch shifting options for some really fat effects. Let's listen to a few of the presets in Replika XT. So there's a quick run through of the new plugins available in Komplete 11 Ultimate. As we've come to expect, Native Instruments has added some great new elements to this package. Streamlined orchestral libraries for scoring, a one-of-a-kind piano, modular analog style synthesis, a sample mangling synth, Indian instruments, effects. Heck, they even threw in a virtual acoustic guitar player for you this time. All told, a wealth of rich, expressive sounds to get your creativity flowing right from your Mac or PC. I'm Rob from B&H, and thanks for watching. Hi, it's Rob again. If you like my videos and other B&H videos, make sure you subscribe right here.